Welcome back. All right, news of the day video for all you fine people on the internet for your Tuesday, July the 15th. Today's also my 8th wedding anniversary, so I'd like to send a happy anniversary to my wife. She's here, but I'd have to go out the door and look for her. Yeah, and it's a hot one here today, so if you live in the area, stay hydrated. All right, so looking at the news from around the world of hockey for today, the Buffalo Sabres have signed Bowen Byram. So by signing Bowen Byram, honestly, it makes it easier to trade the player. Interestingly enough, it's a 2-year extension, $6.25 million cap hit, and he's an unrestricted free agent at the end of those 2 years. So we'll see what Buffalo decides to do from here, but this contract walks Byram to free agency. So Byram's probably quite happy about this contract, and they avoid the arbitration part of things. Mrtka, the first-round draft pick of the Buffalo Sabres, signs his entry-level contract. It's a $975,000 cap hit. So I wore Buffalo for this, and I picked the Buffalo Slug for a simple reason. Because at the meetup we had on Sunday, somebody mentioned Buffalo had, and they couldn't remember the terminology, and I remembered the Buffalo Slug, so I wanted to show, I have the Buffalo Slug right here. White one and the blue one, too. And when I get into the jersey countdown, you'll see it early in the jersey countdown, because these were not great-looking jerseys. And the neck. Who decided on this neck? Anyways, whole other discussion for another time. Interesting signing. Apparently, according to Elliot Friedman, Michael Carcone is going back to Utah. And the interesting part of this is that during his exit interview with the press, he basically flat out said that he didn't agree with the ice time he was given, that he wanted a better chance, that he had talked to coaches and management, and that he was deciding to go in another direction. Meaning he was going to free agency and he was done. And apparently, whatever was offered to him in free agency was not better than what was being offered by Utah. So, at the very least, this is the reporting from Friedman. I haven't seen Friedman report on something like this and be wrong. So, Carcone going back to Utah, apparently a popular guy in the locker room. I think Carcone, honestly, he's a good bottom six forward, and he had a really strong goal-scoring season his final year there in Arizona before they moved to Utah. But yeah, he's a bottom six forward, and probably best for him to go back to Utah. We'll see what his ice time looks like this upcoming season. Farinacci's been signed to a 1-year extension by Boston. There's 3 numbers on the board. At the NHL level, he makes $775,000. At the AHL level, $90,000, and a guarantee of $100,000. So it gets bumped up to $100,000 at the end of the year. And this is why when people talk about how greedy hockey players is, I always say, these guys in the AHL, they're playing for the love of the game. Because, $90,000 is a good pay for a season, sure. But comparatively speaking with the NHL pay, it's not a lot. So there's that. There are 2 players on unconditional waivers today in the NHL so that their contracts can be terminated. Sadly, the Flames putting Joni Jurmo on unconditional waivers. Joni Jurmo, one of the funnest names to say, and funnest is a word, but yeah, he's not gonna be playing for the Flames. I wanted to see Joni Jurmo playing in the NHL. I was gonna get Joni Jurmo jerseys and all that, and maybe get Pekka Rautikalio to sign it. But anyways, Pekka Rautikalio is my favorite hockey player's name ever. So there's that. And Finnish names are usually a lot of fun to say. So it's too bad. Jarkko Ruutu comes to mind. Ty Voigt of the Leafs has also been placed on unconditional waivers. These are both contract terminations. These are not buyouts. There's no penalty that's associated. It's just the player and the team deciding this doesn't work. Usually signals a player is going to play in the KHL or play at the very least overseas. And so that frees them up to do that, wishing them both the best. I did get kind of a chuckle out of this morning, so I thought I'd throw this on the board too. The NHL list says top 10 forwards, age 25 and younger. I did see a Columbus fan post, when was it Adam Fantilli turned 26, because Fantilli's not on the list. And Raymond, who is 23 years of age from the Detroit Red Wings. Lucas Raymond, he had 80 points this season, not in the list, not in the top 10. So this is where the lists, and I see them from the NHL, and I see the reactions, and I go, you know what? It's fine. So, yeah, top 10 forwards under 25. And yes, I obviously also thought, I'm glad I didn't do that list, because I'd have Raymond in my top 10, but I'm going to bump somebody else out that, like when you're saying 25 and under, that is so many players. And so to have a top 10 list, you're going to exclude some pretty darn good players from that list. So at any rate, yeah, that's what the NHL did with their list there this morning. and fans not all that impressed with who wasn't on the list. San Jose Sharks making some changes in their organization, bit of a staff shakeup. Joe Thornton officially now employed and has a job title and everything with San Jose. He's a player development coach and also hockey operations advisor. So Mike Grier continuing to build the organization on the ice as well as off, and I think this is a solid move by the San Jose Sharks. Joe Thornton is a beloved figure in San Jose, and rightfully so, and now in retirement he gets to help the organization out off the ice as he did help them on the ice as well for so long. I wanted to talk about this because this was talked about yesterday. So Florida's raising the banner, and it's at 5 o'clock Eastern, 2 o'clock Pacific. Why would they do such a thing? When you look at scheduling, don't just automatically go to the default blaming Gary Bettman for all of it, because ESPN has some say in how the schedule is going to go. So the triple header, that's an ESPN thing. And as frustrating as it can be, and I do find it kind of frustrating because it just makes for a very long day, the opening day of the season, and they're usually games that aren't necessarily rivalries, so they're just regular season hockey games, and early regular season hockey games aren't usually very exciting. So the start times, which are 5 o'clock, 8 o'clock, and 10:30, so ESPN still doesn't understand that 2.5 hours isn't enough time between start times for hockey games. So that's going to be a thing again this season, but whatever. These start times are ESPN start times. A good example would be Hockey Night in Canada. There's always a 3-hour difference between start times for the games, and it's just the NHL goes the route of what the networks are looking for. So as much as people want to get mad at the NHL for certain start times of games, there's two other factors to look at. Sometimes the owners want games on certain days with certain start times, and networks will want certain start times. And 5 o'clock Eastern, I mean, for most people on the East Coast, 5 o'clock Eastern works. For people on the West Coast, not necessarily as much because it's 2 o'clock out here in the West, but yeah, that's NHL scheduling for you. So with the Byram signing and other signings that have taken place, 3 of the 13 players who either elected arbitration or were taken to arbitration by their team have now signed contracts. The hearings are set to start on July 20th. I haven't seen an actual schedule yet for what those hearings are going to look like, but they take place over about a 2-week period, and I won't be surprised when more of these restricted free agents get signed to avoid the whole arbitration process altogether. And then I wanted to give a little bit of a boost to this post I saw on the Oilers' social media. July 31st is the deadline to donate used hockey equipment at a Sports Central location in Edmonton. So it's in Edmonton and the area around Edmonton, so the greater Edmonton region there. And if you do so, you enter a contest where the winner will get a chance to meet Leon Draisaitl during this upcoming season. And the locations are posted on the Sports Central site, which is sportscentral.org. And I would say this as well, if you have used hockey equipment, and as long as it's in decent condition, don't be afraid to donate it, because sometimes for kids that are growing up, the equipment can be really, really expensive for their parents. And so having that equipment that's donated of various sizes can help these kids out that are getting into hockey, or help teenagers out who are in hockey and maybe they don't have the money for all their equipment either. It is a very, very expensive sport to play. One of the reasons that my parents couldn't really get me into it when I was a kid, the price, the cost, and then there was the early time of day as well, where a lot of the things were going on that I don't think my parents were as enthused about. But at any rate, there you go. So if you can give equipment, go ahead and do so. And I'm saying this to anybody who's played or who has equipment kicking around, donate it, because it is a good gesture and it helps. And getting more kids playing hockey, I think, is for the best for everybody, from every area of hockey, from the very small right up until the NHL level. It can have that effect where maybe it keeps a little kid in hockey who otherwise might have to drop out, or young, 12, 13-year-old that might be considered dropping out. Maybe getting donated equipment helps them out a little bit. So yeah, just figured I'd throw that on the board. But let me know your thoughts in the comment section below as always. Hit like and subscribe in the event you may not have done so already. Thank you guys so much for all your support. And again, Yvonne, if I see you at any point today, happy anniversary. I'm Yeah, I'm in here for now. But yeah, take care. If you haven't already hit like and subscribe, please do. I'll talk to you again soon.